We all know the atrocities committed by the Axis side during World War II, including the Shoah, which is the Holocaust, and those committed during the invasion of China by the Japanese soldiers. But in the Allied side, there were also despicable and infamous acts. Outstanding, of course, is the dropping of atomic bombs over the civilian population of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. There are, however, others that have remained quite unknown. That's why I want to talk about the Biscari massacre. In July of 1943, more than 15,000 soldiers of the American Army were going to have the so-called fire trial. That is the first state of war. This before the very General George Patton, the most important general of the United States Army during the Second World War and later and the Korean War. He talked to them in a speech. He told them to be ruthless. He said they couldn't have any pity for the enemy. Despite that they were the only division without having any war experience, they had a least objective to complete in the invasion and landing of Sicily in Italy. Their victory upon the coastline defenses and entering the island was vital for the English paratroopers which were about to be sent in the following days. The 10th of June of 1943, the landing in the east side of the island began. Taking the beach was hard. It differed a lot from what is always shown in films as an old World War II veteran of the battle, Gilbert John Hayes, explained many years afterwards. The 45th Division had to lead the landing and assault. As a curiosity, it is interesting to note that this division had to change its original symbol because it was a yellow swastika in a red rhombus. The division succeeded in their objective after a long and hard combat. There were some loose ends. One of them was the Biscari airfield. Another division, the 118th, was commandeered to take it. The battle was hard. Italian snipers targeted medics and wounded. The Americans suffered lots of casualties. After a long and intense resistance, Italians had to surrender or die. Many of the Italian troops surrendered, but some of the snipers did not. Americans started searching for them. After some skirmishes from the Italian side, the Americans found the sniping team. According to the law of war, the Americans should have kept their prisoners in POW camps and take care of their lives. However, the next morning, by order of the Sergeant Compton, an entire group of Italian soldiers that had surrendered peacefully were taken out of the airfield and killed by the American troops. But this was not the worst of it. When the prisoners were going to be transported, a sergeant called Horace West and his men were with Italian POWs. They walked a mile or two, and by order of West, they halt. The confused Italian interpreter asked what was happening, but West didn't answer him. The POW were driven to the rear of the road. There, West took a Thompson machine gun. He told the soldiers that if they wanted, they could turn their backs, and immediately after that he started shooting the Italians. After emptying the magazine, he recharged and killed one by one any POW that still moved. The bodies were found later by Lieutenant Colonel Chaplin, who reported the incident to his superiors. An army investigation began. In total, 34 Italians and 2 Germans had been carefully assassinated by West. Later, in his trial, West declared that he had to kill those sons of bitches. These events did not reach the press at the time, but the news finally got into the USA. Thousands of Americans at home were shocked when they read about the Biscari massacre. The army was forced to take those army men into war trials. Both West and Compton were sentenced to lifelong prison and degraded to the lowest army rank, that is private. What is interesting is that in the case of Compton's trial, his defense alleged that he was just following orders, while in the case of West, his attorneys plead that he was insane at the moment that the facts happened. The scandal reached the highest ranks of the army. Indeed, General Patton was personally worried by this incident, but the next year West was out of prison and fighting again. Meanwhile, Compton died in jail. Do victors write history? Would the Biscari massacre have been forgotten if had it been committed by the Italians or the Germans? Why is that so? Why is the memory so related to power? Of course, this goes beyond war. The horrifying memories of slaves and the colonized were repressed for a long time and have only recently started to come to the surface. Who was really responsible for the Biscari massacre? Was Patton responsible of the massacre inciting soldiers to be ruthless, or were those individuals that killed them with their own hands?
Let's sweetly sympathize again and help the scum to rise again, but don't let's be beastly to the Hun. We must be kind